Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Build the Back to the Future DeLorean. This is issue 21, and we are still building this engine. For those of you who are bored of building the engine, well, about issue 26, we actually install it in the chassis and put the exhaust system on, so we got a ways to go. This is the kit for the week. We got the cylinder head covers in there, we got the AC compressor, and some brackets to hold it together. And I think at the end of this week, we'll actually be installing the top of the engine that we've been working on onto the rest of it. So we're going to go from there. So it is, of course, Saturday, as we do these on Saturdays. And how's everyone's week been? Still waiting to hear about the Ghostbuster Ecto 1. We'll see. Hopefully this week I'll find out if I'm getting parts in October for it, if not November, I guess. I don't know how big the backlog is. They just told me that's when they thought they were getting parts again. Everything's kind of screwed up these days. So, without further ado, let's get started. Rip these packets open. We have, I believe that's an oil filter. Little guy here. A different little thing. Don't know what that is. We have some DM screws, next portion. And we have some brackets and other pieces. Again, not sure what this is. It's a little piece that looks like a little piece. And then I have a couple of these small bracket pieces. And in the third compartment, we have some FP screws. I don't think we've seen those before. One cylinder head cover, part of the AC compressor, and one more packet here to go. Section 4, we have AP screws. We've had a million of those. A slightly different cylinder head cover. This one gets a lot of those little pieces attached to it. And then the other part of the AC compressor. So with the plastic open, we can put that aside and start building. So the first thing we do, we take the top of the engine block that we've been working on and we attach the plain cylinder head to it. And let's see if I can figure out orientation. These pictures are kind of fuzzy in this week's issue. It may not even fit. Oh yeah. So orientation wise, there's a pin here. There's a hole in the top cover. It has to line up. There's no putting it on backwards. So it's going to go on like that, and it is secured with 2 FP screws. So we'll get those out. And if you can hear plastic being attacked, that is the cat fighting with that plastic bag I tossed on the ground. I'm going to stop her from eating it. Okay, sorry for the interruption. Okay, FP screws. These are going to go in to this cover from the underside. Get one started. And get the other started here. Okay, so that is a cylinder head attached on the side. Next, we're going to start building up this other cylinder head before we attach it. There's quite a few pieces that go on here before it's ready to go. So we start with the other cylinder head, which has a couple of flat places and screw holes through it to attach the other pieces. And it looks like the first thing we do is we get a couple AP screws out and attach that tiny little piece, which, I don't know, they call part 21C, which the book says is control pressure regulator. So there you go. This little thing is a control pressure regulator. This guy right here. One control pressure regulator being attached to a cylinder head. And once again, there is actually a keyway on the back of this to make alignment simple. Nice of them to do that. Okay, this is secured with 2 AP screws from the back side. Get the first one started. And then once we've got the second one in, we'll tighten those up. Okay. So, like I say, how's everybody's Saturday? I kind of been out in the world a little bit more lately. Things are opening up, which maybe isn't good. We're starting to get cases around here again. When we were doing really well behind the rest of the country in infections, and now I guess we're not. And I don't know. It's tough not doing anything. I am an indoor person a lot, but I am an indoor person around other people. So I don't know. It's tough. So that's that piece right here on the edge installed. We're just going to continue building this up. Next we are attaching, the oil filter. Not the oil filter, but the oil filler. Filler, as in take the cap off and pour oil down here. And again, this has got a keyway, though it's not a super close fit with it. Maybe it's not supposed to be. And this is going to be secured with another AP screw. I did pick up some what they call M discs, Millennium discs. They're supposed to be extremely durable optical media writable storage, so I picked them up in a Blu-ray format, 25 gigabytes per disc, to do backups of important quote files, things like these videos that are not actually important to anyone, but I'm curious about the format and messing around with it. So I've got that going on. My machine is backing up files right now onto these 25 gigabyte discs. And it might surprise you to know that the files for each one of these videos run from anywhere on the small end of about a gigabyte up to as large, I think, as 5 gigabytes on the longer ones. Just the raw files plus the finished product. So it does take up quite a bit of space. I got the first 10 on one disc, and it looks like I'm only getting about 8 on the next one at 25 gigs each. So it gives you kind of a sense of the average size. Okay, next we are taking the front, back, whatever half of the AC compressor and installing this little doodad, which they are calling a compressor connector. Okay, I guess that's sensible. And again, this is keyed such that there's a screw hole and a pinhole, and it's only possible to put this together one way. So, hooray for simple designs like this. And it actually fits pretty snugly just by kind of snapping that in. Well, we're going to secure that with an AP screw anyway. If you are building this yourself, you should just be able to give that a squeeze and get it to stick together. Okay, now getting this screw in here, there we go. This is a case where I wish... let's see if their screwdriver works, because it's got a thinner shaft on it. Yeah. So, while I prefer my screwdriver for just the quality of construction, it has a much wider shaft around the head, and there's only so much that you can make it fit in. So there's our AC starting to go together. We're going to attach this to one of the bracket pieces. If I can figure out which one. Are they identical? They certainly look identical. Does the book say they're identical? Yes, they're both 21H, same part. Okay. So this is going to fit up somehow with the tab facing away from the bracket. Okay. This is somewhat confusing. Okay, so this is going to go... This piece with the open end is going to go actually in front of the bracket, which gets screwed through. And this is attached with more AP screws. Okay. I'm going to pre-start this on the compressor. Oh, no, I'm not. They slip right through. Fine, fine. Carefully juggle these pieces so that we can make this all work. This is one of the tricky parts. Not too bad, actually. It seemed like it was going to be worse. So I'm going to get that started, make sure I get the other one lined up. Okay. And I think the way this is all going to sandwich together, these screw heads are going to be kind of on the inside, and you won't really be able to see them. So, again, that's it. Screw heads go on that side. That's kind of the finished end you're going to see. We are on to step 7A. We are taking this thing we've been building, and we're going to figure out how to attach this bracket to it so that everything lines up. And yeah, okay, so it's going to go kind of in front of the oil filler and get secured on the middle screw holes with more AP screws. AP screws to screw on the AC. But at step 6, which I skipped over, it's just put the other bracket on the other piece. So again, with the tab facing up, this is going to go like that, and the screws are going to go on that side. So I guess the screw heads will not be hidden. I guess in the real engine, the screws would be bolts and they would be visible. So that's fine. Because this has to be secured in an engine somehow, right? This isn't just pinned together. They don't glue these engine blocks together. Well, not yet. When we get to all plastic electric drive motors, maybe they'll be glued. I hope not. That'll make them a lot harder to work on. Probably never go to an all plastic one, huh? Durability. And of course, you know, your rotors and stators have to be conductive. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just talking. You can ignore me. It's fine. Okay, so that's the other piece. That's not going on quite yet, but they did want me to put that together first. It doesn't really matter the order, I suppose. So now we're actually going to attach the first part of this compressor with AP screws. And they are actually splitting this into 2 steps, even though it's really just 2 screws, to recommend that you install this top bracket this side first. So let's see how well we can do this. Not that well. And I'm not going to crank this down here because I got to get the other one lined up, and if I have to wiggle it, I have to wiggle it. It's also, it's not totally cleared out, the hole, so I'm going to see if I can fix that quickly. That's better. And now we'll secure the other screw. Alright, so that's where we're getting to here. Like I say, this connector piece does go kind of in front of the oil filler cap. Getting close to the end of this, the next step is to put this other piece on, the other section of compressor, so the shaft fits together and through, and then this is going to sit on more mount points just like the other did. 2 more screws. That's the first one. Now this is a little bit of a kind of springy fit here. Once the screws are in, I think it'll hold itself in place. But because of the nature of the plastic, it does want to flex and screw up the alignment at the moment. Yeah, there we go. So there we have an AC compressor, an oil filler, I keep saying filter, and some other compression unit together on top of the cylinder head. I believe our next step is going to be, if I can turn the page, in fact, attaching this on the engine block on the left side, and we're going back to FP screws for that. So I've got a couple more of these spare AP screws, and at the very end of this, we are going to be using that hose piece that I kept from issue 19, if you remember, to connect some things together, but that's a few steps from now. So we are going to take this and we are going to install it in the only way that it will fit, with a pin. If I can line everything up, there we go. Pin through the top cover. And we may have to jump back to that other screwdriver for 1 screw here as well. Got 1 started. Well, this one, the alignment's slightly different, I guess, because it's not really giving me the same problem. Alright, so now we have the top of our engine block really coming together. And this is going to go onto the rest of the engine and be secured with a couple of DM screws. Okay. So that is going to sit on like this. We're getting a very detailed engine here. And we are going to have a fun time running these couple of screws down through. Probably going to have to use this other screwdriver. Yep. So we got one. Because these holes are deep and recessed in here. And this screwdriver has a much narrower shaft, as I said, and actually lets it get in here. Whereas my other one, while it's extendable, the part that actually holds the bits moves with it, of course, and that's the part where it's wide. Okay, nice and secure. Wow, we have an engine block and a transmission going here. So, the last bit is to go back and reattach this piece of hose between the, I don't know, whatever I had it on before, and the oil filler. So, this goes, okay, from the upper peg back here onto the oil filler. This is why they give you tweezers. And this is why I might end up putting some glue on this. And we'll do that off camera if we end up doing that. I want to watch you. Well, make you watch me try to glue things, because it will take me forever. Almost would like to put a piece of wire in this to keep it from crimping over. But there we go. A little bit of hose pipe between those two pieces as well. I may go back and massage that a little bit to get that crimp out. But that's what it's going to look like. Quick addendum, guys. While I was trying to fix the way this hose works, I did actually break a pin off on the stand-up part. So while I'm waiting for that to glue back on, the glue's got to set, I actually took just a plastic twist tie, and I stripped the plastic bit off and took the wire, cut it to length, bent that, so I have a much better, I think, hose system now that that's been installed. So something, if you're building this yourself, you might want to consider. Use a little bit of wire from something thin. Like you say, twist tie out of the junk drawer if you got it. That seems to work pretty well. So once this cures, I'll put it back together and it'll be good. And there we go. That's it. That is this build. This is what your completed assembly should look like, and I think we're there. So once again, thank you for joining me. If you are new, please subscribe if you like what you see, and keep watching. We've got a playlist for any episodes you might have missed of building this DeLorean, and some other videos on the channel. I'll put up some links to that stuff. Have a good one, guys.